All right, welcome back. This is Cult of Elections, and after a long couple of days, almost a week, we are back to your regularly scheduled programming. And today, in this 2024 election night prediction, we are going to go through the scenario that Donald Trump runs a third party. And I've seen this done in other videos before. However, I think it's going to be a lot different to what people think. All right, let me just go ahead and start with safe Democrat states. And anything like Oregon, which would be borderline safe, likely, definitely moves to the safe. Maine's 1st District would too. Yeah, if we're talking borderline, we have to put Virginia, Colorado, and New Mexico in that too, as well as Hawaii. Okay. So, this map is going to look really, really weird. You may think that the Republican nominee would, win all the safe Republican states. However, I don't think the Republican nominee wins any of these states. And I know that may sound crazy, but if you look at Donald Trump's approval in the Republican Party, and a lot of Republicans themselves are disenfranchised with the party now, since a lot of Republicans aren't going along with them and I mean Republican elected officials, they're not going along with them in, say, contesting the race or anything. So I think the Republican nominee only helps the Democrats here, and I think Trump instead, of course he's marked as orange, I think he instead would win some safe, oh shoot, sorry, that's a weird kind of map, the safe ones here. Gotta pick these carefully, because I know some of them would fly back into the other direction. Utah, okay. Idaho, yes. Okay. It is very hard to pick through this. But of course, okay. So I left out some key states. Now, we got to remember, we have to look at Trump's primary challengers and how much of the vote they received. And if we look at New Hampshire, clearly that becomes a safe state. It was already almost one in 2020, but I think Trump only got 86% of the vote in the Republican primary in New Hampshire. So that poses as a bit of an issue. What else poses as a bit of an issue is the likely states, or the borderline likely states / likely states in 2020. They definitely stay that way. Montana is one of them. Indiana becomes likely. South Carolina stays likely, but by a little bit. Missouri, Kansas, Utah, things like that. Even Mississippi becomes likely. And I think that's it for the likelies. So we can move to leans here, and it's not a lot. Alaska becomes a leaner. Nebraska's 1st District becomes a leaner. And let's carefully choose these. I honestly think that would be it. Okay, now we can move over to these. Likely, 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 likely. Maine at large, forgot to delegate, it's safe. This becomes likely Democrat. We can move Nevada over into likely. We can move Nebraska 2nd into likely, borderline safe. And that just leaves some states here. Okay, so let's go through the less interesting ones here. Ohio is something Trump won by a considerable margin. And I think it stays as a lean state there. Sorry if these colors are a bit confusing. You can kind of tell with the delegations here. Iowa's a tough one. And that's the only one I'm going to put in the tilt Trump margin. But that's just barely. And it could just as easily go the other way. However, if we're thinking of things in this way, we pretty much got to put Arizona, Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina in the lean column. Like, undoubtedly. And then that just leaves the big dog Texas. And I left this one for last for a specific reason, because I feel like this would be the most interesting here. And I think of course, in some states, people would be more likely to vote for the Republican nominee rather than Trump in this case. And of course, oh my god, I left Washington, D.C. out. That's hilarious. Yeah, Washington, D.C. becomes a bigger smoke than it already is, which would be wild. But, putting Trump in this way. Okay. We're going to put Texas in the tilt Democrat column. So, I have the Republican nominee getting a absolutely horrendous amount of the vote. But of course, you know, a number of these states would go the other way if the Republican nominee actually got more. And perhaps it would they would in Pennsylvania, things like that. Perhaps they would in Ohio, Iowa. I can't really see the map looking too much more worse than this. However, if Trump did this in 2024, this would be absolutely terrible for Republicans, and they would surely lose. Undoubtedly lose. If the Republican nominee and Trump actually stayed in until Election Day. Alright, what do you think of this map? Does it look better? Does it look worse? Leave some suggestions down in the comments. Look at them all. I will get back to more consistent uploading. Perhaps not daily like I used to. But, yeah. Other than that, like the video. And subscribe for more, well, I used to say daily content, but somewhat daily content. Yeah. Peace.